Hey viewers, welcome once again. Our topic tonight is devolution, devolve government. Devolution, or the act of devolving, that means decentralizing from the central unit to decentralized units. The philosophy behind the devolution is to ensure that the public services, civil services, go down to the grassroots, go down to the communities, wherever they are, families, individuals, who don't need to make long distances to come to the capital city to seek services. But such services, they can access them in their locality. Wonderful idea. This is not news. It is not something only in Kenya, but many countries in the Western civilization, in Asiatic civilization, and many other countries in Africa have been practicing devolution. Even in Kenya, before the new book of law in 2010, there was some level of devolution of the government in terms of the provinces, the districts, and the divisions and locations. Now, my question of concern is pegged on what do we intend when we say there is devolution, or Kenya is a devolved government. It is a unitary government, that is one national government with 47 devolved units known as county governments. I invite you to read the Constitution, chapter 11, under Article 174 and the following. The objects and the principles of devolution are well explained. I would like to dedicate this video presentation to Professor Yash Palgai, a prolific scholar, expert in constitutional law, the one who presided over the Constitutional Conference at Bomas of Kenya, and also was once the Dean of the School of Law, the University of Dar es Salaam, before he relocated to Kenya, to the University of Nairobi School of Law. I appreciate the brains, the minds, and the intelligence that worked behind the Book of Law, that is the document and the supreme law in the Republic of Kenya. Again, I find that such documents or such restructuring of the state may not go without some challenges. The question of devolution is still problematic till today in the Republic. Being problematic is a question of the devolution was meant to achieve certain objects, especially socio-economic development of the people where they are. Such development is being seen in large portions, some in medium portions, some in small portions. It depends on many dynamics that have come with those counties. Some of those counties are involved in corrupt deals and maneuvers that may not enhance development process as per the objectives of the Constitution. Apart from corruption, there is segregation in the sense that some counties are very suspicious about individuals that they recruit to work within those counties. So the fact that there must be equitability and equality and equal opportunities meets some challenges when they get to practical aspect of the functions of such counties. This one should not make us lose hope, but should only call our attention to more debates and academic research that should come up with new ideas, insights that would enable our leaders to improve on the document and make the devolution achieve its expected goals. There is something that is problematic: the public administration. If I say the public administration, in the restructuring of the state and its departments, we talk in terms of the ministries, ministerial bodies, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Interior and National Coordination, Ministry for Defense, Ministry for Health, Ministry for Development, for instance, Industrialization, Ministry for Land, Ministry for Water and Irrigation, Ministry for Health, Environment, and other ministerial bodies that are necessary for socio-economic development of Kenya as a nation. Within these ministries, projects are designed and implemented. But the problem is, where is the nexus between the national ministerial body and the county governments? Here we find that the governor at the county level also has got his committees, executive committees, that take the role of a minister at their capacity. Is there any link between CEC and CS at the national level? Okay, if we argue that there is something that is not adding up, how is the county represented in the national public administration? These are the questions that we need special answers. It is not a question of legislations. They are there, and coordination between the county governments, the county and the national governments. The book of law, the law is clear. The law is there to ensure that the relationship is galvanized and the devolution works as expected. Now, when we talk of public administration, we find that there was a gap in the book of law. This gap is how the presidency can be linked with the counties. That linkage was missing. And at some point, the government had to come up, the national government had to come up with an office of the county commissioner, which argumentatively is still problematic. What is this office meant to do? Is it meant to spy the work of the county government and report to the national government? Is it meant to do some specific duties for the executive and report to the executive? This is raising questions, more questions than answers, because the security has not been devolved, and the security is under the office of the county commissioner. This means the governor has got no power, no authority over the security of the people that is in charge of. As much as the national government is still reluctant to devolve certain functions, especially security, it raises the question of the capacity of the governors to deal with certain issues that they need to respond to. Apart from the question of security and the question of the president getting linked with the grassroots, we find another problem. The problem now is in line of public administration. In the former book of law, the administration was seen in terms of from the president, the office of the president, OP. It would pass through provincial commissioners. From provincial commissioners, it would go to the district commissioners. From district commissioners, it would go to divisions known as division officers, DO, then to the location headed by chief, then assistant chiefs up to the village elders. But in this manner of doing things, it was easier for the president to communicate or send messages to the local people through the administrative channel. But even these, at the district level, certain offices were there. I remember seeing the office of the president at my local district. Even though it was always closed, it was looking tiny and in a funny situation, shape, it could create that image of these governmental ministerial bodies and departments being available and present at the level that the locals would again feel the impact of the national government on the ground. Not having this is not a big deal. It is just a question of dealing with what would be considered national big issues and descending such big issues to the local people without any interference or any injunction. Well, when the county is faced with certain challenges, there is a dilemma. Is it for the national government to act, to respond, or it is for the county government to respond? And if it is the county government to respond, the next question is, are there budget allocations for such duties, especially emergencies, disaster management, or pandemic issues that may emerge? In the year 2020, we are faced with COVID-19, which is a pandemic worldwide, and governments are working hard to tame the virus and to ensure that people are safe. But it is the question of public health issues. We find that most of the counties are not yet in a position to handle public health issues. In Kenya, some counties do not even have safe water for the people. Some counties don't have drainages. They don't have proper sanitation. Kisumu, for example, there are estates where people reside with terrible health condition when it comes to drainages, when it comes to sewer line. To my amazement, sewage materials are still emptied directly to the rivers that lead to the lake, Lake Victoria. Some sewage materials are emptied directly into the lake. This is the lake that feed fish. The same fish feed the residents. Some residents even fetch the lake water for their domestic consumptions. Now, are we still saying where is the national government and where is the county government? Would the intervention of the national government into county affairs appear as interference and bring some controversies and unnecessary political squabbles? All these things remain as challenges in the current situation, including issues dealing with county governments and how such governments handle the money allocations or the budget allocated to them from the national government. It is not the question of what percentage should be devolved in terms of national budget to the county governments. The question is there integrity? Are those governments capable to manage such funds without embezzling such funds? These are all practical questions that any ordinary thinking, right-thinking person would ask himself or herself. Our interest here is the question of the public administration and the restructuring of the public administration to an extent that every county will have a lot to do with the national administrative structure. Do we have the ministries presented within the counties? And if they are there, they are answerable to who? Are they answerable to the county government, or they are answerable to the national government, the executive arm of government? Another thing is about the representations. It was believed that perhaps through the Senate, the counties would get national service, in the sense that the Senate would really be involved directly in the administrative affairs within the counties. It is not like that. It is as though the counties have got their own administrative systems that are so limited because of funding, and the national government also has got its own administrative offices that are funded. So in this manner, we find that it is like give and take, or the national government devolving certain functions declines to devolve other functions, including the public administration functions. That is why, if you happen to be in Mombasa and you're born in Kisumu, you would be asked to make it all the way from Mombasa, 1,000 kilometers, to seek a duplicate of your document. Well, some other services have been proposed by the national government and the Ministry for Devolution. That is good. Huduma number, a way of computing such documents of individuals to an extent that should an individual be in need of a duplicate or to access the document, it would be easy in any part of the country. So we are not saying that all is bad. We are not saying that mistakes are, well, we are saying this is work in progress, and as from the academic perspective, there must be some level of thinking, understanding, debating, and bringing these issues into a platform in which scholars can again rethink the existing structure and make proposals that can be implemented should there be any constitutional amendment. Thank you so much for watching. I think this video presentation has helped you to understand the devolution in the administrative system. and why should we call for devolution, and what should be devolved and what should not be devolved. It is not to say that everything should be devolved. There are also some challenges and things that should only remain at the national government. Thank you so much, and I expect to see you again. Thank you for encouraging us. We ask you to subscribe and like us. Thanks so much.